Hi everybody, and thank you for being with me one more month. And to the newbies, welcome. Hopefully we're going to be friends for a long time. Just really quick news that I want to share with you is that a couple of weeks ago the channel hit 3 million views, and it is a big milestone, and I really love it, and it's really encouraging me to continue, as I don't like to cut corners, and I really want to give you the best possible reading, so you kind of like can get an idea, if I only focus on your own energy, how that's going to look like. Just like the one today, monthlies are more kind of like extensive, so kind of like buckle up, right? I like to do it properly. Shorter version, this might be a long version on YouTube. Some people like long. Short version is much easier for any reader. You just like snap them up, but that to me looks like cutting corners, right? And plus we're going through Mercury retrograde. I'm still expecting a whole bunch of stuff to go wrong. Also, Instagram started their own TV, IGTV, and I'll try to place short version with a twist on Instagram. So if you are social media kind of like fan, if you like to maybe do different things and different aspects, you know how the reading gives you something initially, you might not even resonate, but then you come back a week later and say, wow, actually this happened. Because this is sort of like projecting your own energies to me. I'm simply mirroring back to what I'm feeling. So let's start with kind of like the general kind of card for all the signs for the Cancer period. And happy birthday, Cancer. I love the sign of Cancer. It's like so nice and gentle, and really like for somebody who is like air, we need water friends around. So kind of like very conveniently, the kitty cat jumped out as a kind of overall energy. So look at that. Is there any card like that can actually describe being on top of the world right now? Sort of like celebration of success, right? And of course it is celebration with cat. So you're kind of probably jointly feeling that there is like some kind of change happening. Maybe we are all of a sudden willing to accept challenges of life or changes, and this is kind of like talking about probably enjoying a wonderful ride on the tiger of success. So we need to welcome it, we need to enjoy it, and most importantly we really need to share our joy with others. And remember, sort of like that every parade does have beginning but also has an end. So keep that in mind. Squeeze anything you can. That means like you're not staying at home and just mulling it over. You kind of like are supposed to kind of like let others kind of rub off on your kind of like feeling of kind of being in the zone. So keep in mind that kind of it's really good to kind of like ride a tiger, and this all shall pass. And this kind of is card teaching us that we need to enjoy these special moments in life, no matter how short they are and no matter how elusive they are, but they will be here this month. So how about we start? Hello Gemini, and I know it sucks to be the last in the procession, right? It's July's birthday, so Cancer had to come first, so you're kind of like at the end of the line, but this is not to say the least. So what do you have? Check this out. Lighting. I think Aquarians had it as well. There is true love, and we have Four of Wands. So lovely, 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 lovely kind of like mix. So first of all, you're kind of like getting into kind of like sense of your own power. You are kind of like possibly working on some kind of healing, and maybe it's kind of like coming to an end. So something is opening, the door is opening. You also have the Ace of Cups kind of like hiding here underneath. Something is moving to the next level. Something kind of like is coming full force. Like the Power is a very, very important card. So let's talk about it for a little bit. Okay, so when we see this, most of us probably don't want to be caught outside in a thunder unless you're a few chosen crazy ones. The rest of us kind of look for shelter. But nonetheless, look at that electric stream coming down. Lightning is always symbol of enlightenment, ultimate goodness and truth, right? It is that creative spark that is kind of like able to renew our lives. It's supposed to resuscitate us. Maybe you have been failing, maybe you have been kind of grasping and trying to kind of like climb back up, but each and every time you have been struck down. Well, now this card is announcing the presence of the divine forces in your life. So you see, life and light is always a metaphor for the creative power of spirit. So the force and magnitude of that kind of like divine inspiration and this grace is really related to a thunder. And this kind of like thunderbolt produces an inward light. It kind of like enlightens and stirs the spirit and creates desire to manifest. It kind of brings clarity and sharpness to the mind. And you are an air sign. This is literally something that is coming from above. It's a God sign. It's a magic wand. It's kind of given to you. As it kind of strikes, it destroys all that does not serve us any longer. It brightens up the sky with just majestic splendor of light visible to our eye and only in seconds. So it's kind of like a glimpse of what we are seeing. So fire also is an expression of spiritual energy of transformation and regeneration. It initiates major positive change. And I'm seeing here, look at guys, there is like this next stage, there is next stage. It opens space, it inspires and energizes, right? So this is kind of like linked both kind of like to kind of like water, right? And this kind of like energy, this kind of like purifies. And, you know, it nourishes and sort of like almost like lets grace pour onto your life. Now, in Native American tradition, the wing of the great creator spirit, Thunderbird, in India is the ashing third eye of Shiva, and the light of truth are really usually always the examples of this lighting symbolism. So guys, you really need to celebrate what you see over here. And like maybe something is going to just like strike you down. Poof, this is it. I'm in love, 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 love. And maybe there's like something that has been brewing for a while, and now it's kind of like reaching the stage of, hey, we need to sail together. So let's see where this takes us. So honeymoon and separation, this could be the one. Finances and career, free yourself, make the effort, attraction, very soon. Well, this is very soon. Let's put this one here as well. Oh, look at what else is hiding there. Interesting. Okay. Then romantic feelings and you deserve love. Okay, we had this true love down there. You deserve love always reminds me of Sagittarians, and that is the opposing energy to yours, just like fire is the opposing energy to water, that we kind of like see it over here, yet it made it workable. It's kind of like upheaval that is happening. And this comes here. No, this comes right there as it was. Oh my gosh, look at this, 9, 9, and 9. It's like a really one bookend over here. And there is like another 9, so you have them all. Wow. And there is another 9. Look, what? How many? Oh, yeah, this is the major arcana. This is the moon, so let me see. 1, 2, 3 minor. So we still miss Nine of Swords, which is a good one to miss. It's one of the darkest cards in a deck. So sometimes you have to see what's missing, because that's what happens when you see so many cards. You don't interpret them individually. So let's start. Finances and career. Something is like flat tire. In that environment, there is like something that kind of like it's going and it's not going, it's going, it's not going. You're kind of like giving up on something over here. You have Nine of Wands reversed. You have Two of Pentacles, and then you have like Two of Swords. Maybe you guys waiting for somebody else to make a decision. This is really not a position of power. This is a really very, very uncomfortable situation. Maybe you have applied for a position and there is like a choice between the two of you. You're kind of like simply waiting for it, but it simply looks like this kind of was something that was very, very important over here. Also, let's see what is grounding you here. This could be the one, but there's like some kind of aspect over here when the Hermit card shows up that you really want to find your own truth, your own wisdom, right? So this is like here, same thing, a little bit of that light captured into this lantern and kind of like moving forward, waiting for some kind of solution. And this is kind of pertaining to, yes, something kind of letting you down. Wow, look at this. It is kind of like movement forward. It looks like there is a situation that sort of like had silver lining, but at the time it felt like, oh my god, this is hard. I'm going through this like dark place and I really don't know. All these swords kind of like piercing you. It simply could be backstabbing, but I'm somehow not feeling it. I feel that you let it happen. You let it happen, and that's why you have all these nines flashing, saying, look, you know, you can only blame yourself. And this is like not to say something bad about that. It's kind of like it was a lesson that had to be absorbed. So I'm starting to actually clarify aces, because I had this like really vivid dream that almost demanded that I do that. So let's honor these ascended masters and see, because this is clearly saying something is not only going better, but something is regrowing. You have found some newfound knowledge, whether in yourself, about the situation, or about yourself, or about that person, or some person. And you might actually give it a second try. Also, if you guys are single and you're kind of dating, you're kind of like really this time around having a different energy. So again, maybe going back to something that has existed previously could actually be good. I don't know, you're hearing this ice cream truck outside? It's the summer, it's the summer. So what do we have here? We have messenger, we have surprise, and sights. So just like as it said, like there's going to be something that's going to uplift you, like some kind of message received, and instead of like this kind of crappy fish that you want to fish, hey, he's getting a huge bag of money. Look at this, like, I mean, happiness that is happening. But there's like still some delay over happening. So I think, hello, Mercury retrograde. It could mean that somebody is still, you know, long distance. It could be some kind of like there is like still some kind of buffer over here that I see. It's not something like, hey, okay, let's get together, let's move on. There's still something that I see that needs to kind of like be worked on in the situation. But this is really good. I think you need to bridge the distance, whether this distance is physical or emotional. So, you know, when people kind of like split, they already start repairing their systems and try to kind of separate. So now that actually has to be bridged, it seems like. So let's see what is in the core of this reading. You kind of feel that somebody left you down. You have like this honeymoon and you have like this Five of Pentacles, somebody leaving you out in the cold. It could also be that the relationship is not approved by church, by family, by, you know, people who basically are important in your life. But here the question is to really see if the partner is really there for you. Also, it is warning you that maybe you're looking at things through some kind of, you know, rose-colored glasses. That, you know, maybe you're asking too much from a partner, or the partner is asking too much of you, or that your attitude toward love is too much of, hey, we just have to have good times. You know, that's why the marriages don't last. The moment when you kind of like approach the first curve, off it goes. Oh, I don't feel like that passion for you. Yeah, you're not supposed to. This extraordinary love is supposed to become ordinary. So you also have 6 of Wands, and you have the World. Very good. Because, you know, learning about things and getting through things when it gets like a really thick and thin, and when you're going through these kind of trenches, when you're going through the thorns, is like really when you see who is there for you. And if somebody did let you down, and it looks like they did when things got hard, you really have to question yourself. And that's what I said. I'm not blaming it on you, but it was a lesson learned. Sometimes we do it because we trust. Sometimes we do it because we think we are good people, or we are good people. But the point is, people take advantage. And just because maybe you and I are, you know, made of this cloth, like there's one in silk, there's one in burlap, you cannot match it. But there is like some almost like new spring over here. Look at this. This is the card that we had as an intro for everybody. It's showing up for you. It's right in your core. You're like beating, like you can feel your heartbeat coming here. You're going to feel on top of the world, and then the world is to boot there. Like, I mean, there is like one phase finishing, and I did see it even before this. This probably is one of the loveliest cards to see. You guys did go through something which kind of was painful, which kind of was dark place, where you kind of like did have some kind of depression, uncertainty certainly, and definitely going through the dark. And now you're moving in a new phase, and you're actually really looking forward to it. It's kind of like something that is happening right now. Usually this is the now. And look at this infinity sign over here that's happening. You had this infinity here as well, but it was, you know, always up and down. But here it is in a perfect balance after lots of tribulations over here. So what is crossing it here? There is like still that essence of what now? Do I really want that old partner, all this old pattern, or do I not? Because this is my ultimate cards of ships. It's kind of like standing on the ledge and looking your future. But there is like still not there. There is like still a barrier that I see in a situation. And why is this? The Magician, that kind of would be you. We have another, look at this. Look at his infinity sign, the little bow on top of this kitty's head. Now, you guys, this is you. This is Mercury. And this could be really Mercury retrograde right now. This separation doesn't necessarily have to mean you're going to leave the partner, you're going to be dumped. This can literally mean just like what they kind of like seen here. You see the ships in the distance. And I see the ships here, interestingly enough, that you really need to maybe go in a different city and work, or, you know, there is like some kind of like literally distance that has to take place. This kind of worries me a little bit, because the Magician reverse talks about the trickster, talks about somebody who just wants to get what they want to get. Maybe, you know, somebody's offering friendship, somebody's offering relationship, somebody's offering partnership. This could be you too. And things are just like, I mean, half-baked kind of a thing. And it's saying, look, Knave of Pentacles, slow and steady. Slow and steady wins the race. And the separation, if it is, it's actually really done in your best interest. There are still certain issues over here. We see this moon here, we see this moon here, we see this moon here. It's kind of like coming up. You need to free yourself from something. There is like still some kind of constraint. Maybe you're in a relationship for the wrong reasons, because all these nines are meaning that in the world, something is coming to an end. Something new is starting over. So the moon is like when we want to do something consciously, but subconsciously we feel fear. And, you know, so, hey, you know, I really want to do this bungee jumping, but oh my God, I'm terrified of the heights. It's usually talking about a conflict between what you see and how you act and what you really feel. Sometimes it's good to act in spite of everything, but this is definitely telling me that you're still not sure, like, what is out there. Maybe you're fearing that, oh, out there, Like, you know, some people don't want to leave a bad situation, fearing that it's going to get even worse, not hoping it's going to get better. And this is kind of like one of those fear and shadows kind of circumstances. It is kind of like running away from problems. It is certainly easier solution to stay and not to do change. Some people really, really hate change. You have this Four of Swords, and then you have Knight of Swords, and that would be you guys. It might need to take really a rude awakening over here. It might need to take you really looking at your own words. You know, it's kind of really weird how we are living in a society calling each other fat and ugly and whatnot. And the truth is, like, hey, if you're fat, well, you're fat. Right? It's sometimes like if we are fat, if I'm fat, like it's the best to say, hey, you know what, this is what I am. That's the starting point. So there are no shadows. There are not kind of like this pretension and expectations. But you are making this point of changing certain things. In your case, this is really connecting to something emotional. There is like that Pisces energy that I see here. And I actually see a really strong Virgo in your reading. And another Gemini. And that could be like your other, you know, your twin that you have over there that is kind of like always whispering in your ears. And that's the problem with your sign, right? You know it yourself. I am not, this is not criticism. It's just like, that's the duality. That duality is like what you're bringing on board. You're bringing, hey, people, don't rush through things. Just kind of like see the other side. But this is also mixing you up, just like Libra. It's always like, I'm not so sure if I'm going in a good direction. If I'm not going in a good direction, kind of like messes you up. There is like definitely need to kind of like restabilize and stabilize and kind of get a control of your life. And I really think here is the key, because this is really to some extent reminding me that these two can be connected, right? There is like this energy that we have, especially our brain waves. There is something that you deserve. You deserve much more than what you have. It again is saying it is time to take back control of your life. You have been captive. And unfortunately, I have to say, I think you made yourself captive. You have made yourself captive in your own head. And you're cutting through it. You're sort of going to be, this is not easy truth to handle. This could be some really harsh truth. So whether it's somebody else or you, but you know what? What they say, the truth will set us free. So my dear Gemini, you know, you need to look forward to it. Like, you know, maybe somebody was waiting, come to me, or maybe you waited for somebody to come to you because look at this, I'm so good on my own and so perfect. Nobody likes this attitude, right? So sometimes we get into this mode like as defense mechanism. Sometimes we kind of like figure, you know what, I'm going to have, you know, life with myself. Well, if this is what you want, hey, just knock yourself out. But if you're still attracted by the other people and you kind of like didn't reach this kind of Buddhist monk kind of level, I really don't need anybody, even though I have to say, at some point you were really, really considering this, kind of like shutting everybody out, shutting the doors, just leave me alone, just me and my lantern and my candle and my dog, that's all I need. So, but I think that you are going to go through kind of like really almost argument with yourself. It is something that you want and that you're scared about. You're scared about arguing. You're scared of arguing. You're scared of perpetual back and forth. This is generally looks like the message that you need to learn. Look at that. They're all fighting for the little mouse. But guess what's going to happen? While they're fighting, something is going to just leave. So sometimes this fighting is just really counterproductive. And sort of like I really feel here there's lots of positioning, and it's not only that people are kind of having these different attitudes, different lives, different wants, different agendas. I also feel that over here, you know, this argument sometimes is really counterproductive, that it's nonsensical. But I really think that you will be really working on this, because this Three of Pentacles is really talking about teamwork. It's saying, okay, we have lots of things where we disagree. So how about we see where we do agree and where we can do stuff. And this is kind of like really hitting you in hard. It's hitting you that, You know, it's not the solution to be on your own. It's not solution. It's like also doesn't mean that every relationship is going to be argumentative. It's going to be this kind of like rub me the wrong way kind of a thing. There are actually here solutions that can be actually very productive. If you guys have children with someone, it could be just, okay, you know what, let's kind of like organize some kind of like family affairs, whether you guys still live a little tight family or not. I do feel that, you know, first step forward is going to be making the effort and putting the happy face, even though you're not necessarily very happy about it. But sort of like for the sake of the family, for the sake of the children, if you have them, you're going to say, okay, you see here it was 9. He was like, okay, I'm going to be arguing again. He's saying, okay, let's see how it goes. Let me just kind of like be a little bit more mellow in the situation. And let's see what they do. So they do, and they pull crap all over again. So see, King of Chalices is somebody who is like painting this great picture, and maybe even somebody, if you have kids, who is poisoning kids a little bit with either gifts, or you know how absentee father and just shows up once every year and they bring all the gifts and it's a big deal, and you are there slaving and, you know, having this exposure and you just don't get any credit. And it's kind of like that situation where somebody just like wants all the accolades and be a good guy, make a whole bunch of promises, but you go, I don't know, dude, or you know, you didn't do it before, so hey, I don't have any kind of firm ground to, like, I mean, to believe you, so what victory is this on? So yeah, you know, you're going to make an effort, but it's going to feel like, especially with someone, this is kind of like really hard, that like somebody is not meeting you. There's like not that kind of like balance in this entire situation, right? So this is bringing us to your environment. Something very soon is going to get very crystallized. When you have 7 of Cups, and when this reverses, that means you don't have options anymore. This is like something you need to do. It's just like taxes. You need to pay taxes. Something is coming up here, and there is the strength. We have another power. There is like this something happening on the outside of you that will really, really challenge you. And it's going to be sort of like, look at this, it's kind of somebody who is not engaging entirely, whoa, and who is like saying, like, you know, try this way, and it's going to actually bring success. It's kind of like weird. Like, to some extent, you need to get control of your own life, knowing what you want. To some other extent, that other twin of yours, you need to realize that there are actually people there, especially, I see a Leo here, or a very fiery sign, that actually will possibly even propose. And you had these 2 cards on the bottom, and this is also talking about going to the next level. So let me clarify this Ace of Cups over there, because there is this motion forward, and it's a whoosh, and it is about you realizing it's not before you realize how important you are. It's not before, I mean, for you and your air sign, yeah, you can love somebody, you can deal with that, because like, it looks like there is like some kind of also healing that needs to take place in your situation, but that healing maybe took too long. I really feel it kind of like some situation wore you down. It was lots of emotional upheaval, and it was lots of uncertainty. It's no wonder that power is kicking in, like, wake up, literally wake up. And you are trying some new methods. You are kind of like saying, okay, whatever it happened, let's kind of like right now say this chapter of my life finished, and I'm going into something else. And sort of like you're giving yourself this kind of like boost, like, look at this, you have 1 and 1, you had the Magician, now you have the Sun. These are all kind of like this new motions, new beginnings. Generally, this kind of situation right now is relatively slow. It's a switch, right? It's a position. It's like parking a car. Parking and coming out is usually a slow motion, but it's slow for a reason. Because you're supposed to move forward, even if you go with someone, with a full understanding who you are, what you have, and what you're contributing. You're supposed to come into your strength, into your power, and we see that over here clearly. So let me just see this Ace of Cups. Why is this Ace of Cups there for Gemini? Ace of Cups for Gemini. So we have room. Get a room, people. We have faithfulness and we have journey. So you know what? You know, there is like this intimate reconnection with someone. It's kind of like weird. You know, it looks like that maybe somebody walked away on you, or it was a situation that is definitely forcing some kind of separation over here. I also see harshness, and I think you can be harsh on the other people, and then it kind of like creates knee-jerk reaction over here. Sort of like essence of the situation is kind of like go inside, heal inside, deal with you inside, because you guys are moving forward. It's going to be lots of kisses. It's going to be a lots of recognition. It's going to be a lots of kind of like good stuff. Like you remember, like this nice feeling of celebration. And it kind of like is a partially, it's a big part is like what you did already did, because husband fears are you want things to work out. You want your little family. You want to feel like a woman. You want to be on the pedestal. If you're a guy, then this really means that you actually need to get softer. You need to a little bit develop your feminine aspects, right? And be more understanding. Maybe you need to cry a little bit. So here is your karma card. And this is the judgment reversed. There was something from the past that it could have been involvement of the other person. It could have been interference from the past life, kind of like clearing that karmic debt, where maybe in this life you did nothing wrong, but you did it in the past one. And it's happening right now. There is like this essence of leaving the past in the past. It kind of like has to get to that closure, because it was something that you felt, oh my gosh, what's wrong with me? Why is this not happening to me? Why is it happening to everybody else? But you know what? The truth was, you cannot move forward unless you have this healing, unless, you know, there is not this person, not the relationship, not the accumulation of that. But usually all the crap happens when we are kids, when we kind of like have our own perceptions, and it can be just completely off, because our world from that perspective looking up is completely different, right? And now when we are grown up, we have to actually go back and try to revisit the same situation where you're looking at the same situation from the eyes. You try to step into the soul of a parent and see if you would do anything differently. If so, give yourself a big hug and say, next time I'm going to do it. If not, you're not going to just say, oh my gosh, this was actually not possible. And I understand mom was too busy. I understand dad didn't have enough money. Now I get it. So it's going to be something like that, that is going to give you a completely new level and completely new essence. You're going to feel, again, this is the card of power. This is a card of something going long term. And you know what? Do not let people to put you down. I don't like this, because this is like some kind of situation that you had with this King of Cups coming and wooing you. It could be somebody coming back to you, could be Scorpio, could be another water sign or even earth sign, that, you know, have some kind of like high expectations that your doors will be always open. This is really clearly saying that, you know what, you need to put yourself first. You need to kind of like get this huge control and realize that, you know, you don't want passengers in your life. You want somebody who is making you a destination, and only that way you actually will continue. You're getting really few clarity. Some of you will actually move forward. The others are going to just kind of honor yourself where you are, kind of like going deep, going hard, and maybe this true love after all is falling in love with yourself. Let me pull one more card. I forgot to shuffle it before I got here. And see, Gemini, July. There it is. You have mountain, and there is like more light. there is light coming through, guys. You are getting the wisdom needed. And this is kind of like when it's needed. Look, you know, sometimes we really want things to work out. We are kind of like trying to hold on to something with sweaty palms and we slip. This time is like understanding that just that kind of wishful thinking just ends up with pain. So we can actually do better. So here you go. Mountain. You have the capacity to flow around any obstacle. This is the time to adapt. That's the word I was using for, because, right, it is just like observation, looking on the outside. What do you do? It's no more bickering, no more you did this again and now you did that, blah blah blah. It's just like watching. And sometimes people get more of a message when you just kind of, you are there but you're not engaging and you're not arguing. Oh boy, that really kind of like can give you the shivers down the spine. So this is what it says. Sometimes you'll come across what appears to be an insurmountable obstacle, like a huge mountain that separates you from your success. You might think that climbing it or chiseling away at it is the answer, but why take such a treacherous, tedious approach? Be like the rivers that flow around mountains naturally. You'll move past this obstacle relatively quickly if you choose the easy way around. So the path of least resistance, guys. This is the time to adapt to your circumstances. If you do decide to climb, remember, you need to take one step at a time, opting for the next right action. So be like a water, be kind of like very flowing this period, because it seems like lots of stuff is being thrown at you. Having the karma cards, things are actually appearing that need some clearance. But good news is, you're tying up the loose ends and you guys are actually already starting the new chapter of your life. So it's going to be interesting. Gemini, I hope you liked it, and if you're still here, press this little red button here and subscribe if you haven't already. If you want your private reading, you can contact me at cattarot.ca. And yeah, there are also student readings, but like I want a simple kind of question for them, and that's very, very affordable. And if you really want even a bigger picture than monthly, then they're like annuals that I released recently, and they're down in the description, as well as my contact number, as well as like the student reading information, and you can go from there. So Gemini, I would love to hear your side of the story and who is bothering you. And you see, the time is up. Until the next time, I love you.